Been having fun with the LSE, so I've got the tailgate to open and close beautifully. Put all of the seat covers back in on the passenger side. There's still a bit of a shambles over there, and assembled the under dash area on the driver's side. I can't get rid of these scratches on the dash surface. It really is. I don't know what's happened there. I'm going to consult and see if I can find something that might remove those scratches, because it's all along the edge here as well. It's like someone's been along it with a bloody wire brush or something. So it's something the customer had asked me to see if I could get sorted out. The cruise control relay, should it make that noise? Hey? I don't know. Just seems a bit noisy when you're driving the car. Click, 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 click. Air suspension, I'll tell you about shortly. I've managed to diagnose the problems with it. You can see all the covers for the air suspension box are in the back of the car there. Oh, yes. Ah! Number plates on, wipers are on. Tested the washers. I need to put the spotlights in still. It's actually starting to get towards Mr. MOT. I want it ready for an MOT, so as soon as this air suspension pump is in. Well, it's EAS day. Electronic air suspension day on the LSE. So the problem I had with the air suspension was that it would go up, but it was painfully slow, and also the motor was really kind of noisy. Now that's the old motor over there, and this is the new motor. This box, by the way, on the Classic, is located underneath the driver's seat, underneath the right hand seat, and basically you've got 4 fixings, 2 at the forward edge, 2 at the rearward edge. What I do is undo the top bolt at the back, leave the bottom bolt in, loosen it, undo the 2 bolts at the front, pull the box forwards, lower it down, and then unhook it from the back. Makes life so much easier. It's not a light box. You need to depressurize this system beforehand. If you don't know how to depressurize the system and you can't read the manual, don't. Because when you start undoing these pipes off the front here, there is quite a lot of pressure in there, and you really don't want to be unleashing that lot in your general direction when you are messing around with these things. So be careful, folks. This is not an instructional video. So what we've basically got in here, the core components, not the 4 components, there's only 3 components. We've got the pump, we've got the valve block, we've got the air dryer. I've taken the air dryer out because I think it's full of gloop. The pump is fairly easy to remove. 4 bolts, take the pump out, replace it. It's more or less exactly the same as the P38 pump. The only thing with the P38 pump is the air inlet is down here, not up there. Now, in order to test this thing, I undid the fixing here. Now, this fixing is the air inlet, and by running the pump and putting my finger over the end of it, I can feel how much suction is coming off this pump, or this pump. On this pump, it would barely hold a piece of blue towel while it was operating. This one sucks my finger on, yeah, quite. So this pump I'm happy with, and as soon as I tried another pump onto this valve block using that receiver, the car did perform. It was still quite noisy, but it performed. The car went up, the car went down. Now, again, when you're taking these pipes off, don't yank them, don't pull them, don't tear them, don't cut them, don't do anything when you use an 8mm spanner. 8mm spanner, and what you do is you push the ring in and then pull the pipe out. That's all you have to do to get those out. It's the same on every single one of these pipe fixings on this car. They are colour coded, but what I tend to do is to wrap a bit of tape around them and write the number of the port. When you look at the leading edge, here you got port 7, 9, 1, 2, 11, blah 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 blah. Okay? So I think that spanner there means there's nothing serviceable inside. Rather, then don't use a spanner to take the air lines off, because that's the only way you can take them off. Now obviously when you're pulling this thing apart, clean these things up beautifully before they go back in again. It does suggest in the manual that you shouldn't shorten the air dryer pipes, and the main reason for that is I think that they're sculpted and they are designed to be exactly the right length for the air dryer. Okay, right, so I was just going to pull this apart. So this is a used old stock pump. You can get them brand spanking new. The general consensus is the brand spanking new ones don't last very long. So seeing as that was lasted probably nearly 30 years, date stamp on it is 0393. More or less matches the date of the car. It's a late hard dash LSE. So I'm inclined to think that that is probably the original pump for the vehicle. And if so, that's not done bad for 29 years, is it? 28, 29 years. That's done all right. So I've got this one on here. This one's dated 0193. But I don't know. It seemed to run a lot better. I bought it off eBay. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So what I'm effectively going to do next, I think, is I'm going to get this fella open. And again, the air fixing's on here, on the ends. There are O-rings in here, and if you want to disassemble these things, you pull them right out and put O-rings on. Again, this isn't instructional. This is, you read the manual if you want to do stuff like that. This is more for overall. This stuff is not rocket science. Right, okay, air dry. Now, this thing should unscrew, as I'm led to believe. Will it unscrew? Might need to be in a vise with a pair of grips on it, that. A few moments later, in my best Joey Barton voice. Right, all I did was pop this into the jaws of a vise and just squeeze, 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 and look, it undoes. Right, big old spring, look at that, that's a beauty. And then, well, it didn't actually look that bad in there, I'll be honest. So the dryer might have been all right, but we will replace all the parts. So there is a filter at the bottom end, and this I bought off eBay, Bay of E. We'll see what the parts look like. So these balls are a silica gel. So this came from 4x4airseals.com. Technical tick box, password, blah blah blah, kit, unlikely event of problems, etc, etc, etc. Right, it looks like in here we get 2 filters and we get a bag of silica. Right, so that is quite grubby. Yeah, that's been working quite hard, hasn't it? So we'll get the 2 filters out of here. This could be quite a quick job, couldn't it, eh? Oh yes, we'll get the 2 filters, we'll bung that one back in there, you ham-fisted gibbon. How's that best going to go in there? So it wants to go in. I have been warned that sometimes when these things get a little bit of moisture in them, fuck's sake, when they get a bit of moisture in them, they do kind of gloop up big time. And when they gloop up big time, what then happens is they what have I done with them? They turn to jelly. Right, let me get this thing in the bottom here, and then I'm going to come back to you. Right, we'll drop that in first, and I'm just going to drop the filter in over the top of it, and that works. Every bloody time. Sometimes you just overthink things, Richard. You really do. You overthink things. I'll shove it down. That's nice. Right, next we're going to pour in the new content, which is all in here. Is it in a separate bag? It is in a separate bag. Look at that. Double bagged, double plastic. I do love double bag, double plastic. I reuse these little kind of resealable bags. Don't worry, folks. Pour that lot in there. gauze over the top. I'm not sure which way round that went actually. Never mind, it's got that on the top now. I've got a feeling that the gauze went the other side of the filter. So filter, gauze, giant fuck off spring, top. There you go, one refurbished air dryer. Do you need to spend £79 on a new one? It's up to you. It is entirely up to you. This lot can go in the bin. Let's put that down there. Right, now air dryer needs to go back into housing, then I can put housing back into car. So all I do with the pipes, I have got a pipe here somewhere. The pipe, I wipe off on the end, take the two nuts off, which the dryer sits on these two pins here. Oopsie, off it comes. Then the dryer goes back in. Now to put these pipes back in again, you literally just, can you see? You can sort of, let's move a bit closer. You literally just push the pipe in, look, and then it sticks in solid. Alright, other end, pushing the pipe in, sticks in solid. Pushing dryer down onto two pegs. Come on you bastard. Just caught on the edge of the container there. Wash me. Do something stupid, I'm sure. Come on, you bastard. Trying to get the dryer over the edge of the box, which is what it's trapped on. Quite why is this bloody tight? I don't know. I've got no idea. I think the bolts have moved slightly. There we are, it's on now. It was a bit of a bastard to get out. We've got a pair of washers. And we've got a pair of nuts, just hold it all into place. Right, next thing I'm going to need to do really is connect all the pipes back up again. You don't really need to watch me doing that. So I'll go and put this box back on, and then we'll see if it works. I'll also go through the EAS unlock software that kind of, it's the open source software that you can use on classics and also P38s in order to service or understand what the ECU is actually doing. And in here we've got two plugs, two big plugs. One plug is for the pump, one plug is for the valve block. I tend not to not disturb the valve block because there's nothing wrong with it. The only thing I've done here is pull the pipes out of it, because it just made life so much easier to work on the bench with this thing, and it's 4 minutes to get all the pipes off. So far I'm about an hour into this job. It's not a lot of time to overhaul these things. It's a lot easier on the P38 because it's all under the bloody bonnet. And the air dryer on a P38 is the same, and as I say, the pump looks the same, but the air inlet is down here rather than up there. Now, someone did mention to me you could just change over the top section. But I don't see how that's going to work. It must be this end piece you change over between the, because that must be the pump there. But I would have thought that the seals for the performance of the pump were in this section. Never mind. Hey. That's coffee. All in all, this is turning out to be a bit of a bastard, actually. The reason being is the pump is a used old stock pump, and if I get underneath the car here, show you that's the original pump there, and then the new pump is behind it. Basically, the new pump worked beautifully on the bench, and when you plug it into the box of tricks here, it won't work. And after a brief bit of diagnosis, an hour of fucking around, the thermal overload on the original pump, which runs up one of these wires, I think it's the black is the earth, One of these is the feed. I think the thermal overload comes up the orange wire because it's quite a thin wire. So the thermal overload on the pump has failed, which means that the pump will not run. However, you can use the EAS unlock software and the pump will run. Fucking thing. Anyway. Okay, show you how this EAS software, unlock software works. Let's just close that down. So first of all, you're going to need a cable, suitable cable, to connect the wrist connector to the USB port on your computer. This particular cable came Rovertech. I borrowed it from James. Thank you, James. Plug it into the USB port, and I'm going to come off the tripod in a second so you can actually see what I'm doing. And down here, attached to the loom that goes into the air suspension, there's a little loop back connector. Now, this loop back connector, which provides an earth to whatever that pin is there, the black and pink, that must be connected in order that the EAS works. So don't leave that disconnected and expect it to work. Let me just plug this cable onto here. There it goes. Right, now next go into, oh sorry, first and foremost we need to go into device mangler. Let's close that down. Go into device manager, which is on your Windows computer, and it will tell you which COM port you're using for the cable here. There is a piece of software that you probably need to install onto your computer in order that you can convert your USB port to a COM port. But once you've done that and you open up the EAS software, it comes up with a basic disclaimer. It tells you it can't initialize. You go into EAS setup, set the COM port, okay. Ignition needs to go to position 2, and then you initialize. And basically you're looking for this feature. So you see on the receive there, it's receiving, and when we end up with a list of Fs, that's it. So basically what I can do now is under functions, I can turn the pump on. There it goes, pump off. I can depressurize the system, which I'm going to do in a second because I need to take the box off again. Long story. I can see what the heights are of the sensors as we're sitting on the bump stops. There we are, there's the heights. Those numbers aren't millimeters, they're just numbers, as I understand it. I can calibrate the system. So I need to plug in the other ECU because I have been trying to get this thing bloody working. In fact, I might do that in a second. I'll put the other ECU in a minute and just double check what the settings are, because these are all wrong for a classic, so don't worry too much about that. I can also look at the faults. And there are none. Look at that. That's good, isn't it? But the main reason for being here right now is I want to actually depressurize the tank and the bags. So depressurizing the tank. Shouldn't have an awful lot in it because the bloody pump's not working. Long story. I'll get over it, I'm sure. Now, where's that other ECU gone? While that's depressurizing, because that takes 45 seconds. Look, Bob's back. Oh yes, hello Bob. I thought you left the other ECU here. James, did you take the ECU with you? So this has kind of been an all-day bloody job for me, non-billable of course, because I've not been able to get the damn thing working, which is an absolute and utter pain in the bottom. See ECU down there, which is still not working. Oh, weird. Okay, depressurize the springs. And you hear the solenoids opening and closing and clicking away. That will depressurize. Just as a countdown here. When that's all done, then I can start pulling off the box again. So looking in the, this is the factory ROM. I've just printed it out for my convenience here. You've got 5 different height modes. Automatically maintained, blah de blah de blah. So standard ride height is 790 millimeters from the centre of the wheel arch to the floor. There, down. obviously tyres need to be inflated, etc, etc, etc. Low profile is 20mm below standard, i.e. 770. Access position is 60mm below, i.e. 730. High profile is 40mm above standard, which would be 830. And then you've got an extended profile, which is even higher than that. Now, right, let's get this EAS set up. So I've depressurised the system completely, and I've taken readings using my straight edge. Tyres are all pumped up to correct pressures, through the centre of the hub to the arch. So basically we're looking at, on the bump stops at the back, 71, .72, not unusual folks, 72, it's a black cloud, isn't there? Oh, it's going to miss us. And 69. Okay. Oh, and I'll just note that down. So 70. So bump stop 71 at the back, 72 front left, 69 front right. So now I shall start up, and basically what we'll do is we'll let the system find its way up to access. Okay, so before I do that, I just need to unplug the diagnostic cable, put in the loopback cable. Obviously don't make it. Ignition on. Now, one thing that is annoying me on this is the sound of the exhaust. The exhaust on the air pump. Can you hear it around here? Buzzing. It's actually vibrating against something. If I unplug it from the back of the pump, the pump's quite noisy, isn't it? So it's quieter running through that exhaust than it is through the pump. The pump is not quiet. Really want to wait it to happen here, but while that's working. I'll find a way of insulating that, I'm sure. Right, anyway, enough of that. Oh, give me that shot nicely. Right, I can hear it creaking. So bear in mind the system was completely depressurised. It does take a couple of minutes for the reservoir to fill up and it to start lifting itself off the bump stops. Pick up I've taken the access cover off the side of the box because I just wanted to check for leaks, because front right keeps going down. So I've disconnected front right, which I think was green or blue, I can't remember now. Disconnected it and chipped the end off it and plugged it back in again. I'll come back to you when this has got to its standard height. It should go up in a minute, but basically it will take a couple of minutes for the thing to fill itself up. Probably need to do in the meantime is open the window, because I need to be able to press the switches. For some reason the switches not only are upside down, but they're also in the wrong positions. Never mind. Oh, dear. Right then, it's got itself filled up, so we're at standard running height at the moment, but what I was going to do, if I can get past the buzzing, but what I was going to do was to show you how I got this set up roughly. So first and foremost, let's get the system so it thinks it's going into access mode, which is to click the down button once, it stops flashing eventually and goes static. There we are. Right, then we turn the engine off. Okie dokie. Now what I want you to do, go round, because it should stay there, and check each corner. 73, 72, check the tyre pressures, check we're on level. 74, 72 and a half. Right, so this side's too high, that side's too low. How am I going to do this? Right, because you need to start somewhere. Let's start with that big black cloud over there. Now, this is how I did it. I was doing it thinking, oh, this will be quite useful for you guys to see. So you can stand over there and look at me, perhaps, I don't know. Lappy toppy, onny wonny, plug into loomy woomy, tid. Right, so we're connected in the diode cable, ignition to position 2. Initialize. I can't have stopped it in the past. I left that running. I don't know what the machine's doing. It's got itself in a lock, I think. So let's close it down. So come and watch this. Let's go for a laptop cam. Say hello to my missus and boys. That was a long time ago. Right, we'll agree to the license. It will say it can't find the COM port. We know already we're using COM8 because we checked in Device Manager. And then we're going to initialize. Normal process for initializing. There we go. Right, as soon as we get the Fs on the RX side, we know we're initialized. Go to heights. Let's get the sensor heights. Right, 72, 62, 86 and 86. We want to go up on this one. Down on the other side. Get sensor heights again. Right, now let's go and measure. Probably should leave the tape measure outside, shouldn't I? Ruler. Start at the back. We're looking for 73 all round, basically. Between 72.3 and 73.7. Just having a little think over there. Still 74. It's actually 73 and a half, so that's better. And then this one is 72, so that one could still do with going up a smeg. So we will go up, go down on the other side. I think it's that. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't on the bump stops on the passenger side front. So we're now 73 and 67 are the numbers. They don't mean anything yet, they're just numbers. Just going to have a look here now. Oh, nearly 73. And about the same. So now what we do, we take those numbers as our reference point for access. We go back in. So basically what we've got is our access numbers should be greater than bump stop, but so that's interesting. Oh no, sorry, that's in centimetres. So we ignore these. These are millimetres, or centimetres actually. These are centimetres. Those are just numbers. So ignore the fact that the number represents kind of what's going on here. So basically what I've got here is I've got 73, 67 84 and 86. Those are my access level numbers. So now, what I then do is go to calibrate, read all, dun dun dun. These are all the numbers that are in the system. I'm looking at these numbers down here because these are the ones I'm going to write into the ECU. That's what's in the ECU already. So, looking at my numbers, I then have 86, well it's 89 at the moment, so let's go to 86, 84, so that's rear right, rear left, front right, I've got down to 67, which is right, and front left I've got down to 73, so we weren't actually that far out. We'll access, write the access profile now. Okay, and then we'll read it again, just to confirm that these numbers up here have changed to those numbers. So I expected that to change from 86. Yeah, it's done that. We'll stop. We'll put laptop to one side. We'll disconnect and re-plug in the loom and start up and jump out. See, that side just came up. It'll have a little think about itself to itself. So let's go to normal ride height. Back's going up, front's going up in a second. Then we'll go back down to access. Right, so it'll drop itself down to access. Now what I'm looking at is 73 on all four corners. Click, 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 and we're there. 72, that's going to be annoying, that buzzing noise, isn't it? 72, 72.5, 72.5, 74, so we're still a bit high on that corner. 72. Then we go up to standard height and we'll see what those settings are. Standard height should be 79 or 790 on each of the corners. Get Bookie McBook face out and Penny McPen face is around fucking somewhere. I don't know where he's gone. Pen's been taken up. Anyone seen the pen? Under laptop? No. Fuck knows where that's gone. Ooh, nice in there. I had it in my hand about 2 minutes ago. If you know where the pen went, you'll be watching the video shouting at me saying, "It's there, Richard, it's right under your fucking nose, you ham-fisted gibbon." Right, so we're up to a standard height. Now I'm really looking to find out what height we've got for standard. So again, measuring through the hub, I've got 79. I've got 79. I've got 79.5, it's good enough. And I've got 78. So this side still needs to come up further. And also on the spirit level. So the spirit level is showing me, because I know the ground is level from one side to the other, the spirit level is showing me that the car is level. So maybe this is close to, this is 825. $840, again, it's showing its level, so maybe the ground isn't as level as I thought. $830. $830. Ruler. Right, I'm going to go down to standard mode. drops down. Neat, huh? Clever stuff. 890. $775. I'll have to go out and take it out to the road, I think. Find level road, garage forecourt or something. 80. 790. Still level. Well, for this phase of work, this LSE is done. There are a couple of things that I am not happy about, which is basically that noise of that ABS pump. I'm going to source a Wabco pump, which I can change over relatively quickly, and get that sorted out for the customer. I've left it with the current pump in place, but I just think it's too noisy. The customer wants the traction control feature to be kind of on the car. I have found another ABS modulator, and I'm going to test that out and fit that if necessary in the next phase. And also the customer wants the aircon to be working, so I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with that. This car was washed yesterday. Look at that. How can it have been washed? Anyway, so yes, those are the key things really. Other than that, I'm not happy with these corner bumpers. They're either a pattern part or they've been taken off badly. There should be a lip on that edge there which holds it over the front of the bumper there, stops it coming off, but unfortunately it's missing on both sides, so we need to get that really remedied. The back bumper is fine, and I can't find the badge. It fell off. I thought, oh, it fell off, and I can't find the damn thing, so I have to get another one of those. It happens. That's for another story. But that's good. I'm well pleased with it. Goes like a stink, this car. It really does go like a stink.